One of the frustrations that a lot of people have, I get this question all the time in my Fujifilm camera courses, people asking why certain settings are grayed out. They want to set the digital split image to monochrome, but they go into the menu and that feature is gray and they can't select it, they can't change it. And the camera never even really tells you why you can't access that. And it's extremely frustrating. Now, unfortunately, in this video and elsewhere, I can't really go through every single possible setting and why they might be inaccessible. So what I wanted to try to do here is to give you the tools for you to be able to figure this out, go through a process to try to understand why you might not be able to access these settings when they're grayed out. So the critical thing to understand is that a lot of the settings in these cameras are linked to other systems or subsystems. Going back to that digital split image example, the digital split image is only available in manual focus mode. It is a manual focus tool. So you're not going to have it available in autofocus. Therefore, the setting is grayed out when you are in AFS or AFC. As soon as you go to manual focus, now that setting, because it's a manual focus setting, becomes available to you. The same thing with number of focus points. You are only going to be using all of these focus points when you are either in manual focus or autofocus with the single point AF mode selected. The number of focus points is irrelevant when you are in the wide or tracking autofocus mode. So that menu option is going to be unavailable if you are in wide or tracking autofocus mode. Or maybe almost all of your settings are grayed out. You go into your image quality setting menu or your AF/MF setting menu, and half of those options are gray. Well, if you can't be in control of those, then that must mean that the camera is in control of those. And if the camera is in control of those, then something's got to be in auto, right? Either your mode selector lever on cameras that have those, or your mode dial on cameras that have a mode dial, that's set to auto, meaning the camera's in control and you are not. The scene position setting. Scene position is only used when in the auto mode, and so if you're not in the auto mode, scene position's not going to be available. A lot of the older cameras had a section in the back of the manual, the manual that no one ever reads, that had restrictions on certain settings. So it was a table and it showed you which settings were and were not available in certain modes. Now this table, it's large and overwhelming and it doesn't even cover every single possibility as to why settings might be grayed out. And this is another good example of why I can't possibly create something like this myself. And as these cameras become more complex, the systems just get more and more intertwined. And so it's really important for us now to be able to troubleshoot this on our own. And we can do this by understanding the systems a little more, know which subsystems are interconnected to one another. And we can do this, we can help ourselves out by asking the following questions when we see something grayed out. Is this setting related to my focus mode, manual focus or autofocus? Or is this setting related to my autofocus mode, meaning single point, zone, wide, or tracking? Or is this setting related to equipment that I have or do not have attached to the camera, like a certain lens or a flash? Or you can also ask, which exposure mode or which drive mode am I currently in? And is this grayed out setting somehow unrelated or would not be available in that exposure or drive mode? So take face and eye detection as an example. You go into the AF/MF setting menu and you see that face and eye detection is not only grayed out, but it says off when you know that you had that turned on. Well, go back to those questions. Is this related or not related to my current focus mode? And if you would see that your current focus mode is in manual focus, well, yeah, face and eye detection is only an autofocus option. it's not available in manual focus. So as soon as you switch that to autofocus, either AFS or AFC, now that will become available. The same thing with the flash settings. You go into the flash menu and you see that almost all of those are grayed out. Well, that's because that's controlling equipment that is currently not attached to the camera. You need to have a flash attached to the camera so the camera knows which of those settings are going to be available with that flash. So I know this may not be the answer that you want to hear when you're trying to figure out some other setting and why it's grayed out, but the process of understanding what the systems do and how they're related to each other is not only going to help you figure out why certain settings are grayed out, but it's also going to help you understand your camera a lot more, use it more efficiently. And when you can do that, you'll start getting better photos. So if you have any questions or comments about anything, please leave them down below, and I'll see you on the next video.